What's going on, guys? Fighting Game Select is here. Tekken 8 season is going to be coming up pretty soon. So I know you guys want to make sure you guys keep on tab with the NA players Cuddle Core. What is good?
Hi, Kizzie. Happy to be here talking about some Tekken 8, one of my favorite things to talk about.
Everybody on the internet always asks the same questions, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to word it in a proper way where it doesn't sound like the same question.
Okay.
Right? Now, my question is to you. Are you enjoying Tekken 8?
Yes, actually, I'm enjoying it a lot. There are some growing pains with the game, but like with any new fighting game, even no matter how long you've been playing it, every new installation of it presents a different kind of challenge. And yes, sometimes it can be frustrating, but overall, like, I've loved how hard it makes me want to push to learn.
What are the bad things that makes you have like those growing pains about Tekken 8 and why?
Yeah, so some of the bad things I'd say is the fact that some of the properties of moves aren't consistent. And I know that just comes with the fact that we're all getting the game at the same time, so we're all kind of testing it together so that they can make a more well-rounded product as the years go on. But the fact that some moves are not consistent in how they interact once they're on hit and on block, that is a huge problem. So those inconsistencies are kind of huge, but also having to kind of relearn muscle memory on moves that either you could duck, moves that were punishable, that are now safe, moves that were steppable to one way, but they're not, so now you have to step into another way. And these are all things that aren't really told to you. Sometimes you have to just learn them on your own. Some things are in there, but like some things you have to kind of learn by fighting against it and testing it.
Oh, yeah.
And those things you're relearning something. And humans, we can be creatures of habit. And you're like, dang, like, I gotta learn this again? It keeps you honest, though, but it can be a lot of work.
What is the hardest part about trying to like lab those scenarios in like real matches? Like, is it more because, you're fighting like a very experienced player and like he throws it out in ranges where it's very hard to like respond? Or is it like it's so good that like no matter when they do it, it just forces a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable? Can we talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think it's more just the unfamiliarity of it. Because if certain properties of moves change, it's just you're used to being able to respond a certain way. And so you're confident in those decisions, or at least you know your options. When you're kind of being thrown into it for the first couple times, you're like, I don't really know what this is. And having to accept that you don't know it is something that, like, for a lot of players, including myself, it's ego, it's pride. Like, you don't want to say that. You want to believe that you know everything. But everybody's throwing out new stuff just like you. So just because you don't know it doesn't mean you're not going to know it. You just have to go into the lab and practice it. So once I see that and I'm like, it's been thrown at me like 8 times and I'm like, I don't really know what this is, but I kind of figured it out now. I go to the practice mode and I go to take over replays and I recreate the situation. I'm like, oh, I could have just done that. I didn't know that was a high. I didn't know I couldn't duck that anymore. Oh, I can sidestep this left. I said, okay, I got you. I got something for you. Next time I see you, I'm gonna have a better answer. But you have to kind of be like, well, this has gotten thrown at me and it's overwhelming because I don't know what to do against it anymore, but I will find an answer because it is there.
For me personally, I always feel like if you're coming into something fresh, not unlearning anything, you're going to have an easier time understanding things versus trying to unlearn something while also trying to learn things. And as you said, our egos as competitors, we kind of have a tug of war with that. What would be the advice that you could give out to those people if there was something that you could say?
Yeah, I'd say something that I've been told a lot was that your growth, your journey is not this linear thing where you just continue to rise and rise and rise. There are going to be ups and downs because you have to be exposed to the things in the game to get more familiar with responding to them. But how are you going to do that if, you don't put yourself in those situations? You have to fight in the tournaments. You have to fight the matchups that give you a hard time. You have to go to practice mode and the takeover replays. You have to do all of those things. But allowing yourself the time and the grace. And I told somebody recently, like in my chat, I said, people be putting, they put really unrealistic expectations on themselves. And you have to understand kind of where you are in the game. Give yourself that time and understand that it is a learning process. That you are not perfect. People strive so hard to be perfect. Like being a perfectionist is like a thing that a lot of people do, but it is not realistic at all. For
an imperfect perfectionist is the word I like to call.
An imperfect perfectionist. And yes. And I'm like, oh, hold on now. You're getting mad at yourself in ranked. Why?
Yeah, out of all places, right?
And I'm like, I said, And I said, well, you know, I said people put a lot of crazy expectations on themselves for some stuff that they haven't really practiced or prepared for, which is crazy to me, because if you're not prepared, how are you going to give yourself expectations for something that you've never actually prepared for? So you have to allow yourself the time to learn, create the muscle memory, get exposed to all those new techniques and mechanics in the game, get comfortable with your character, and then, you know, go into practice ranked mode and offline, online situations, tournaments and things like that. Understand that you will lose and you will win, but when those things stump you, go back to practice mode. Go back to those replays. Look at what you could have done better, and understand that, like, the more you see those things, the more you put in the work, the more you show up, the more and less making excuses, the stronger you will become.
Let's talk about the good about Tekken 8. And I feel like there's a lot of things
that I think went really well, or are going really well for 8 is, I just want to talk about the soundtrack. I think the music is perfect. Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
The music is perfect. I played the actual music. I don't do the jukebox. Before I was doing the jukebox 4/7.
See, the thing is about, I do the jukebox, but I do it like Tekken 4.
Yeah, the Tekken music, yes.
So, but I have like 4 Tekken songs that are like Tekken 8 on my jukebox that I'm like, oh, okay, this song goes so hard.
It's very good. They put a lot of love and time and effort into making sure that each song was super diverse and unique to each stage. And that's something that is a callback, in my opinion, to the older Tekkens. You can really feel the personality of the OSTs per stage really shine through.
Well, how do you feel about all the character design so far? Like, how do you feel about like the design, like, for each character feel so far?
I feel it's very personal. They're truly individual characters, and they have personality. It shines through very hard per character, all the way down to their voices being very present. They did that justice too. I think they did a really, really good job. You know, all the characters talk when they throw you or hit you, and I said, oh my God, that's so sick. I love it. It's really small touches to give them that individual flair that they all have. Because character has so many diverse types of characters, like archetypes of characters. I love that.
With that being said, thank you so much for coming here, man. I really appreciate you taking the time and like shooting with me. Where can they find you, Cuddle Core?
Oh, yes. So you all can find me on Twitter at cuddle_core, Instagram under TK, like Tiger Knee _cuddle. Like you said, Tiger Knee. And Twitch under cuddle_core as well. So, yep. If you all want to just keep up with me and all the really awesome things I'm doing, along with the tournaments as well, just follow me there.
The Tekken World Tour is going to be starting soon, and I'm telling you guys right now, you definitely want to watch the journey.
Yes.
So make sure you guys show some love, give her a follow, and just follow her just because she's an awesome individual. And with that being said, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.